there came a time when we did become the highest rated mobile banking app in the world. Take an idea to real prototype, meaning a real interactable prototype in under 4 minutes.
A way the Martech world can actually move to value-based pricing. You know, these multi-agents talking to each other. Technically, you can run not 10 campaigns, but 100 campaigns, which then helps brand really rethink, or what we call do the impossible, make the impossible possible. Welcome to Be a Proficorn, a series where we at Netcore Cloud bring to you unfiltered stories of brands that have created enormous value for their shareholders. Brands that not just grow well, but also actually focus on profitability at the same time. Some consider it a little bit of the holy grail. Today, I'm very thrilled to have a dear friend of over 2 decades with me, someone who's actually a force in the world of financial services and the person behind 3 consecutive Digital Bank of the Year awards by Financial Express, Sameer, who heads digital banking at Axis Bank. Hi Sameer, and welcome to Be a Proficorn.
Hi Siddharth, thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Lovely. And I must say, I've been amazed at what you've actually done and as Axis, and particularly in the world of digital banking and what you're actually doing. So thanks so much, and I'm looking forward to actually this conversation. And I think for me, the first thing, Sameer, is it's been 6 years since even Axis Digital has actually grown from 0 to almost 7% of the bank right now, 40% plus addition in terms of your balance sheets, and of course you're hugely profitable. What are some of the most exciting things that you can play back in terms of since when you started and where you are right now?
Yeah. So firstly, just to kind of set the facts right, Axis was always a leader in the digital space. We had a great app. It did significantly better compared to our peers, even before I joined. So it's lots of kind of history behind from where we came. But if I look at the journey, my journey over the last 6 years, there are many highs. But let me call out maybe a couple. The first one is, when we started, we kind of typically start with grand ambitions, right?
Yes.
So one of the ambition we set was that we wanted to be the highest rated mobile banking app in the world.
Okay.
Right. So actually first we said we want to be the highest rated mobile banking app in India, and then we said why only India? Let's say the entire world, right? And so I mean, look, it's a nice aspiration to have, and it's something you always think that I'll put something on paper and so on and so forth. But actually there came a time when we did become the highest rated mobile banking app in the world.
Yes, I remember that, yes.
And that was a really big deal. And this was not some kind of, we had, if I remember right, 2.5 million reviews or something like that.
Wow.
So this is not some small number. It was at scale. And then, we did the benchmarking. So that was one big high point. Obviously, there was a lot of work that went behind it. We completely kind of redid our app. We kind of built a new team, which we kind of in-sourced design. There were a bunch of things that we did which got us there, but that was one, I would say, kind of big delta and a big high. Second one, I would say more recently is, so when we started, we basically said we took a different view to digital than what most other financial institutions have. Which is, we said we will look at digital as an end-to-end business, right? And so anything that is originated, processed, and the customer experience managed fully digitally with no human being involved is what we call digital business.
Lovely.
So as an example, if we originate something digitally, but then it is closed offline, that doesn't count as digital business.
Lovely.
Right? So this kind of, we started this definition somewhere around 21. And now in multiple products, the digital bank is, in certain products we are 70-80% of the new
Fully
sales
right.
of the bank. In many other products, we are like, in most credit products, we are in the approximately 30%, kind of 25-30% kind of range. And so there came a point where we got to some significant milestones in terms of the size of the balance sheet. So that was the second big, I would say, high. And third is, one of the early calls we made was to say that if we have to be a successful digital institution,
Yeah.
we have to have competitive advantage. And competitive advantage meaning stuff that we have that somebody else doesn't have. And so one very early bet we made was to say that we will build capabilities in-house.
Understood.
Right? So most financial services actually outsource,
Yes.
technology, design, and so on and so forth. But we kind of went the other way, and we said that anything that is customer facing, we want to own it, so that it's not available to everybody else as a product. And now we built like our engineering team is about 350 people. We have a 50-member design team. Our product team is another 400 odd. And these are all guys, like 75% of our team comes from non-banking backgrounds and non-financial service backgrounds.
And how important was that actually to rethink the way banking itself works? Because
so it was very, very important actually, because so as an example, so see, banks think in a certain way. And there was, Axis Bank didn't need the digital team to tell them how to do banking better, because they are all stalwarts, right?
yeah.
But how do customers interact with the app, and how do we think of that, and how do we kind of bring this product thinking, digital product thinking? How do we do engineering in a much better way? These are things that the bank was doing something, but it required a significant shift to stay relevant and to stay ahead and to maintain its advantage in the digital world. And so from that perspective, it was super critical. It helped us build, so like we have some competitive advantage, as I said, right? So competitive advantage in my mind comes from having some proprietary assets. So as an example, one very interesting one is that we have built our design system. Actually, we made it public, so anybody can go and see it. So you go to subzero.axisbank.com, you can see it. Now, what is the design system? The design system is an atomic way of doing design, which means from the pixel to the entire app, how you design it is
available,
codified here.
Okay.
So I'll give you one example. Let's say you are a designer and you are building a screen, and now you want to put a button, right? So now what a button looks like, and what are various types, like there are maybe 12 types of buttons.
Yeah.
So there are some, primary button, there's a secondary button. There is you can have a sharp edge, you can have a rounded edge. How do you interact? So when you click the button, what happens to the button? All of this is already thought by somebody. So it's available. You go to Subzero, you just pick it up and you put it. So you don't now need to apply your mind on how to design this. By the way, along with it, the code for this is also there. So the developer just needs to kind of point his code to this place. Like he can just pick the code from here and put it. So he doesn't need to write code to think about this, right? So this, now we've demoed multiple times that we can take an idea to real prototype, meaning a real interactable prototype in under 4 minutes.
Which means you can do A/B testing even for that, and you can actually test multiple types of screens, designs, and to see what actually drives better engagement.
So you can test, you get better productivity both for designer and for the developer. But most important, the single most important thing is that an Axis Bank page looks like an Axis Bank page, irrespective of who's made it.
Understood.
Right? Because now even kind of where we have vendors, we tell them to use the Subzero design language. So every app, now that journey is not fully complete yet, but over time, every single screen of Axis Bank, a customer will kind of relate to it and say that this is how it looks like. The second benefit is that suppose tomorrow my entire design team leaves, right? Or the entire tech team leaves. A new set of guys come. But Sub-Zero is Sub-Zero. So, now there is no, like you've taken the
Scalable,
person out of the,
consistent,
and the people then start thinking about the more value added stuff, which is, what the journey should look like. And so, I mean, one example, but there are many assets of this kind that we built.
No, interesting, because so these things help drive productivity, consistency, and you're getting people to focus on the more complex problems to solve.
Right.
One of the things that, at least when we work with banks and BFSI as a segment, we find that there's a lot of, even within a bank, there are a lot of products that you have to actually talk about. Multi-product suite at its best. And each business has a different priority and the likes. How do then, as the digital banking unit, you figure out what is it that actually can grow much faster? What is it that needs to grow at what point in time? Because everybody would want to dip into the new customer journey or the expectations that consumers have with, digital plus offline kind of touch points. So how does this decision making happen today in a multi-product suite and a very complex one like what financial services has?
Yeah. So there are two parts to this. The first is the creating the digital journey, and then second is the communicating with the customers, right? So the creating of the digital journey is very clear because we have this end-to-end mandate, and we have clear, top line, bottom line, etc. targets. That is a discussion that we lead, like my team will lead along with the relevant product stakeholders.
Okay.
So that's kind of how, and it's not a cookie cutter kind of a solution. It's a very messy, multiple conversations and negotiations, and then you come up with the roadmap. So once that happens, then we build the journeys. The kind of in banking, the beauty or the real delta is how well have you built your product journey. That's the single largest differentiator in terms of what conversions you will get and how much this will scale. Because it's very easy to build a front, like banking journeys tend to be very, very complicated.
Correct.
For everything you need to do 500 checks, and edge cases are more
the norm.
than
Yes,
the
yes.
happy case, right? So you cannot kind of say that, okay, this edge case let me live with. So you have to kind of solve for the edge cases and so on and so forth. So it's very easy to put a digital front end and then have a man behind the engine, right? Like you remember this old that Center Fresh ad wherein he puts the ATM and there's a guy behind this kind of
True.
So it's very easy to do it. But then the real value comes when you actually take all manual interventions out and you build an end-to-end journey.
Okay.
And so that is tough. And that's where the vast majority of value lies. So that's the first part of this. The second part is then the marketing. And this is where, unfortunately, I don't think yet I have a great solution. Because a bank has, if you just come to a retail bank, I've never done this math, but I think we will have at least 75 products.
Wow.
Right? At least. 75 different products. I'm not talking of variants.
Correct.
Like a saving account is one and a current account
And
is
then
one.
there are variants.
And
so
then there are
actually,
variants
if you
also.
quote unquote in the retail world, if you take SKUs, there will be like many.
There'll be many SKUs.
Yeah,
There'll be many SKUs. And then obviously our customer set is, defined, right? So there is always this thing of I need to send these communications because obviously I need to meet my product targets or budgets or whatever. But at the same time, how much can a customer
absorb,
take? So this is something we made some progress, but I think there's a long way to go. The way we do it is, so it's okay. It's a little messy, but we have this personalization framework, wherein we have using some analytical models, try to identify which product is best for which customer, and then that is what is sent to the customer, and then that message gets personalized, and we try to personalize it for like if there are event-based triggers, then at that event we try to kind of do a few things and so on and so forth. So this is one, and the second one is that if we just do personalization and if we just do conversions, if we kind of do this by conversions, it is very clear in a banking portfolio that there are 3 products whose conversion is here and everybody else is here. And that's just the nature of the business,
products.
of the products. So we cannot just keep doing this because this is also important. And so then we have some campaigns and we run it, and then we do a little bit of very manual, we look at the CTRs and the conversion rates, and so we look at the full funnel, and then somebody will just bluntly say, okay, this campaign doesn't make sense, cut it. So that's how we are running it right now.
And how are you thinking? Because on the personalization front, when we are as a consumer as well as a tech platform, when people talk about personalization, there is something around saying using the app. App is the primary mode in which you would want to actually engage with your consumers, because that makes sense. It's the lowest cost channel that you have, but it has very less space, right? And therefore, what do you actually put on it? How can you actually truly make it n equal to 1? Is that even needed or not needed? How do you, make trade-offs between what you do in that channel versus at some point it might just be easier to actually also look at some of the other channels of communication where consumers are and then drive journeys via the app? And, is that something that is, things that you discuss? What kind of decision making happens there?
Yeah. So if you think of channels for us, there is the app, there is the internet banking. These are what we call logged in channels, which means that you have to log in.
Owned channels.
Yeah, these are owned channels and you have to log in, right? So these are extremely high engagement channels, because once you logged into your app, then you are really kind of engaged with us. Then we have our website, which is a public website. You don't need to log in, but it's our proprietary channel. And then you have SMS, email, WhatsApp, etc., and you have Google, Facebook, and all the social media. So for us, a vast majority of our business comes from our app, right? And the next is internet banking, and then obviously we have the
other channels,
what we call the campaign channels, which is SMS, email, WhatsApp, and then there is performance marketing, which is social media and Google, Facebook.
This is for customer acquisition more than.
Yeah, which is for customer acquisition. We also do cross-sell, but it is largely for customer acquisition. So going back to your question of personalization, so we have what we call a hyper-personalization kind of framework, wherein actually we can get to n equal to 1, and we can, as an example, the machine can decide that when Siddharth logs in, you show him an offer which says that, Siddharth, you have a pre-approved personal loan of 4 lakh rupees at 11% interest rate. Correct. Click here to apply, right? Yep. So this is super, like, it is your offer, and it is not a generic, it is not up to, it is the exact amount, it is the exact rate. So this we are able to do. And when, let's say, I log in the same space, I will see something which says that, look, your checkbook is now on the last 2 leaves. Do you want to apply for a new one? And so we have all these
trigger-based sort of.
Yeah, trigger-based, whatever. Yeah, so we have some, we kind of classify our nudges into 3 parts. There are sales nudges, there are service nudges, and then there are, we call it regulatory, but broadly it is, some housekeeping kind of nudges, right? So the personal loan is in the first bucket, the check is in the second bucket. Something like, let's say, your re-KYC is due, or whatever is in the third bucket, right? So then the machine decides which one to kind of show. Our experience is the personalization absolutely works on the inbound, like this inbound channel, which is this mobile app and
coming to your mobile
and so on and so forth. It kind of works on the campaign side, but it is not kind of that. It is not that significant a delta. And on the third one, I think even we, like, our framework itself is not fully, because these are new to bank. These are not customers we know. So we have something, but it's, it's still kind of.
I've always seen that, that the timing or the relevance of a campaign is, for a consumer, is what probably drives the click. Yes. And relevance not just in terms of saying that, I think people have cracked, as you said, Siddharth, 4 lakh, this thing, which means that's looked at my history and figured out, okay, this is what I'm eligible for. But whether this is what I need right now, and if that's what actually comes to me, so the timing of it or the relevance of it, at least we find it very tough to do. In the e-commerce and retail space, actually, that is that is far more evolved, right? And at least particularly on categories like fashion and retail, where people are actually searching. You know what they're searching for. You can actually recommend things to them live. You don't need to wait for a quote unquote timing out there. Uh, is that one of the sort of impossible problems to solve in this case of personalization, and are there more? And then if I were to ask you, what are the two things that are not solved in personalization today, which you would actually love to have a solution for? What would those be?
Yeah, sure. So what is not solved for us, and then there are other things like, so firstly, this is never, you are never going to achieve perfection. This is an ever evolving, right? The kind of problems you not solved are like, let's say, I show you a nudge. So the way this works for us is that when you log into our app, at the top you will see your balance, etc.
Yeah.
And the very next thing is the personalized nudge.
Yeah.
Right. Now the thing that we are hopefully will solve soon, but we've not solved yet, is, let's say you log in 5 times and I show you that pre-approved loan 5 times, and you don't do anything with it. Now that feedback to take and then say that, look, he may not be interested, and now let me kind of. So that is something that we do it today kind of manually. It's not analytically solved for. So that is something that we are trying to solve for. Second is to make, this is not a personalization problem, it's a tech problem.
Correct.
Which is, how do we make that, like as an example, can I say that for the first 7 days, when Siddharth gets his salary, I will show him some investment nudge. Book it in an FD or put it into a SIP or whatever else. Or on the day that Siddharth's electricity bill is due, and 2 days before that, I'll show him the electricity bill nudge. But the day he pays, or the day actually that will solve for. That will solve for that. The day he pays, it kind of
vanishes after that. Yeah.
But the first one, which is that after the 7 days, now I'll show something else, because I now know that Siddharth has kind of spent his money or whatever else.
Correct.
So that these kind of things is what we are trying to solve. I would say these are more tactical stuff. I think more broadly, this is my belief, this is not the bank's belief, but my belief is that we will see, and we, meaning the bank, us also have to do something to move from this push-based marketing to the pull-based marketing, right? Because and actually the data is very clear. The engagement rates on
pull-based
SMS, email, WhatsApp are
abysmally low.
WhatsApp was very good. It's dropped like a stone actually. And if we all continue to use WhatsApp in the way that we are, I think it'll drop even further.
I think there's an over communication happening even there right now.
Yeah,
massively.
everywhere. Yes. So and it is customer clutter, right? Like many of us don't read SMSs.
Yes.
Right. We just don't.
As a channel, it's questionable in terms of how important it is.
Yeah. And email, a lot of the email goes into spam. And again, many of us just don't read emails from companies. We can see, and actually, like if you have Gmail will tell you which is a
promotional, which is marketing, which is spam, and so on.
So you can see this in the data. The click-through rates are significantly below 1% for most marketing communications. Whereas in the inbound, it is not the case. And particularly when it is hyper-personalized, it is. For us, we see difference for our best campaigns of 7x, 8x between
of the inbound and the push channels that you're talking about.
Inbound, yeah.
And one of the things that we are seeing work well is some of these push channels, instead of actually becoming promotional, if they are made into engagement, because you're right, I think it's also about mental saliency, as we call it, which is to say a brand needs to be present at the same time at something for you, and that's not a pull channel, but that's much more a push channel for you. Have you tried converting any of these channels, say an email or even WhatsApp, as more an engagement channel? Now, WhatsApp as an engagement channel, one could argue, is very costly to actually put as an engagement channel, because it's cost to actually send any WhatsApp. What about some of the other, like email? I'm more as an engagement channel rather than a push channel for marketing.
Yeah.
Because then there is a certain pull, certain open rates that you can actually drive. Is that because it's a low cost channel? Is that something that you've been dabbled with? Is there even a need for actually doing that? Or
yeah. So actually, our primary use case for WhatsApp is engagement.
Okay.
Our monthly active users on the WhatsApp channel are now equal to our monthly active users on our internet banking channel.
Wow.
So
Okay.
people find it actually quite convenient to, if you want to know your balance, instead of logging into, one of these things, you can just ask us on WhatsApp. We have actually, the way we started thinking about WhatsApp was to say that this is a third banking channel. Like internet banking is one, mobile banking is one, WhatsApp can be a third, and whatever you can do on A and B, you should be able to do on C. Now that kind of, we've not gotten to that level. So there are like some products you can buy on WhatsApp, some others you can't. There are some regulatory complications, etc. But as an example, if you wanted to book an FD, you can just chat with us and book an FD on the chat. You will not leave.
Actually, FD booking is right. Can even happen on email. Can even happen like entirely on email nowadays. And those tools are have progressed quite a lot.
Yeah. So engagement on WhatsApp, we made reasonable progress. On email and SMS, not so much. We do see, by the way, like as an example, we send servicing messages on email. Those find better CTRs than the marketing ones. But yeah, beyond kind of it's, I wouldn't say it's a major servicing channel
for you.
Yeah.
And the when we look at the Martech stacks evolution in the last 4-5 years, what we are finding is that there is a lot of companies. Like the stacks have become far more complicated. So in order for you to even drive any kind of personalization, at the end of the day, you need the data, the analytics, which you all do on the side. You probably have an equivalent of a data lake or a CDP. You need automation platforms which will actually then match this to various channels, in which case app or web or this thing. Now, it seems like there is a clutter even there. At least when we look at it, there are a lot of companies which have come up which are solving for individual nuances of features and functionality. As a user, how do you actually make these decisions? What do you see this evolve into, and where is even the banking stack at today, and how do you see the evolution?
So look, I think one of the things that I have been pushing and we've been pushing as a team is to reduce the number of tools that we use. So our kind of the joke in our institution is that you take any alphabet of the any letter of the alphabet, and there is a tool we have, right? And typically the way this happens is that, I mean, it's a little unfortunate, but the way it happens typically is that there is some need. Yeah. So let's say we want to send out push notifications, and the current tech we have is not great. And then someone figures out that actually there is one tool which does push notifications very well. So then you kind of go and get the push notification, right? Then you figure out actually that tool was not built for push notifications. It was built for something else. It also offers push notifications. And then you figure out that actually, for most of these tools, if they are able to do 100, you are using 5 or 10% of the capabilities, and you're not using the other 90%. And so then there is this complete, alphabet soup that, and you then have to wire everything together, and it's kind of quite complicated. It also becomes quite expensive. So one of our efforts has been to, consolidate, and if we have a tool, then we use, if not 100, at least 50% of what it can offer, and that's the little bit of a push that we made over the years.
And in this, funny you say this, because we constantly ask ourselves and our customers. So I'll ask you as well. How do you really ascribe value to these tools? Because at the end of the day, does this question ever get asked? How much is this really contributing? Because you're right, most of the tools have a history of saying less than 30%, for sure. Maybe in some cases 5% only gets utilized. How does this, and this creates a little bit of a vicious cycle, because then it's becomes a feature game, etc. At least our belief is that this norm or this worldview of Martech is to evolve. Somebody has to break through this actually, and even see whether there is a way the Martech world can actually move to value-based pricing. how much value you actually deliver, that's what you actually get paid. Is that something that, as a user or as a banking lead and somebody who is evaluating stacks and figuring out how to consolidate, is that something where you see this world going?
So
or will that change the game?
Yeah. So the way we think about all these tools is we do a little bit of kind of figuring out of how much incremental business we did because of X or Y or Z. And the important thing here, at least like my belief, is that you should not be too cute about this and you should not be too mathematical. You should do this a little bit mota-moti, right? Because this, by the way, the other thing is this entire attribution business, right? Like there is this, I have not seen any attribution exercise which does not prove the case.
What you want to prove.
So then everything is kind of delivering value, but overall business is not going up. So the way that we try to do this is to say that, look, if we did something, it's fine. CTR, this, that, and so many clicks happened and so many conversions happened. But did the business see a delta? Many times we find, and by the way, there's nothing wrong here. I'm not kind of being suspicious of this.
Yeah.
What happens is that, let's say you were going to book an FD, right? Because you have excess money. In the normal course of things, you would have just gone to our app, logged into our app, gone to the FD section and booked the FD.
Correct.
Now I sent an SMS to you, right, with the link, and you click on that link and you book the FD. So of course the SMS triggered that last step, but did the SMS give us incremental business? The first one obviously it did, but the answer to the did it give incremental business is no, right? So our real kind of this thing is that you ran that SMS campaign, fine, there is some attribution, there is some CTR, conversion, we kind of, all of these things we do. But net did if you were doing 100 month on month, did that 100 become 105? That's the real critical metric. That is real critical kind of ask, which we then apply to whatever tools. Some tools are just required because you can't attribute value to it, but it is required to, so then those come. On this point, I think it's a kind of, the devil is in the details. It is conceptually a very interesting idea, but then you have to kind of
prove it.
You have to see
and
what
maybe it's
comes
only
out.
Possible in some cases.
Yeah, and
not
you see what comes out and
correct.
Whether it works or not, and so on. Because
and increasingly, at least in the banking space, you also want to keep all the analytics, all the data, etc. Separate in your place environment, so to speak. Do you see a lot of that interlinkages or integrations happening more in the tech stack, as in very well integrated data passes through your data stack or your analytics layer, and the automation, because the automation platforms or a lot of the platforms tools today come with their own analytics also, or increasingly they're building a layer of agents, AI based algorithms and so on and so forth. Is that something that is of value, or because you are also, even I see even companies building that. Tools are also building it in some way and companies are also building it. But at the end of the day, usage is more or less restricted to where the brands are actually spending the time and effort. Is that world A, changing, and B, has it solved, or do you see this solving some things very materially for you as a brand? As in, are there some problems which AI is solving right now which were unthinkable a few months, maybe a year ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I think AI, is a big deal, and I think AI is. If you had asked me this question 6 months back, my answer probably would have been not with the same conviction that it is now. I think 18, 24, maybe 36 months down the line, the world of digital marketing will look completely different from what it does today. So I can give you some examples of what we are seeing, right?
Would love to hear
So
that.
As an example, this entire business of creating the creatives that you want to send out. We now have a tool which, like a product guy can write. So he can let's say I want to do a home loans campaign, so I can say I want a creative in which a young couple is standing in a balcony and there is a sunset behind and there is a lake and there is
a
a
prompt
tree
based
and so on and so forth.
description.
Yeah, you write like that and it will give you a creative. This creative is compliant with all Axis Bank norms.
The brand kit is also
Brand
put
norms,
it and
regulatory compliance norms, all of that is kind of already baked in. It then, kind of, there is obviously one layer of the compliance guy looking at it and the marketing person looking at it and so on and so forth. But then then it will create all the adapts, right? So you have to adapt this creative for, whatever, it will create all the adapts. So it is then set to go.
Understood.
This activity used to take us at least 3 to 4 weeks earlier, because somebody will write this, it will go to an agency will create a creative, it will come back, marketing team will look at it, give feedback, so on and so forth. Once the final creative comes in, it goes to compliance. So then, all of this used to take us 3 to 4 weeks. It is now a matter of hours to get it out, and this is real. This is not coming in the future, it's real.
It's already happened.
There are things that are coming up, and we are running some right now. The first one is real, it's kind of live, etc. The rest of it is in the POC kind of stage, wherein you take this creative, you put it into you want whatever, right, like SMS, etc., etc. It will do some A/B. It will create some A/B tests on its own. It will send it out. It will look at the feedback. It will automatically, change the allocations. So all you need to do is you need to give it a spend and kind of whatever a cost of acquisition, some metric you have to give it, and ensure that it has the access to the data, and then it will do everything on its own. So basically, the entire Martech, whatever is happening today,
absolutely,
is very soon going to happen via AI, and this is real. Like I think 6 months back, or even 9 months back, this was all imagination, hypothetical,
still theory or still
theory.
Opportunity.
Yeah, now I think it is getting into the realm of reality, and once that happens, then a lot of
business
the
models would change.
Manual, like marketing today, digital marketing today is very despite all the tools, there is a lot of manual intervention. All of that just kind of.
I couldn't agree more, because even for us, 6 months ago, I think people over the last 1 year have built individual agents, like something that will just do affinity-based segmentation.
Right.
Something that will do creatives in a certain way. Something that actually says campaign scheduling or send time optimization and so on and so forth. I think individually those agents are now, I think, more evolved. What we are yet to see, however, and I think that's where you're also alluding, is where we are going is to say, can each of these now talk to each other with some human intervention from a quality standpoint? Because you still, as a marketer, want to know whether the segments are more or less right, the captions or the titles of creatives are more or less right, you're actually sending the campaigns at the right appropriate time during time zones, and there are some quality control. But these multi-agents talking to each other, technically you can run not 10 campaigns but 100 campaigns in a matter of a minute. So at least design them, and then after that figure out when you want to just approve and send it out. I think that's something that we are very actually excited about starting to build, and I think you're spot on. I think the world is headed there. We actually think that will also force players like us to actually really change our business model, because then gone are those days where you're talking about features and our tool had X features, your tool had Y features, we can do this nudge better versus actually saying, if you were to deploy these AI agents, so it's an agent layer, there's a platform layer, and there might be a services layer, which then helps brand really rethink, or what we call do the impossible, make the impossible possible, and say segments X to 10x or X to 100x, campaigns X to 10x, and effectiveness in terms of click rates and in terms of revenue generation, X to whatever X. I think we feel that that's where at least we are seeing ourselves also evolve. But it sounds very exciting, because what you're saying is that we are already seeing some of these pilots work independently. Question is whether they come together and they can actually make magic happen. But no, I think lovely. I think I have a last set of 5 questions for you,
Sure.
which are hopefully, a surprise element in them. So, whatever comes first thing in your mind. So start with, if there was one buzzword in fintech which you would like to, do away with, which would that be?
MAU.
Profitable growth. If you were to describe it using a movie title.
Very tough questions there.
You know.
But yeah, it's like a dream, whatever, right?
So we'll go with
It's
Mission
aspiration.
Impossible then.
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were stranded on an island with Wi-Fi, but with only 3 apps that you could have on your phone and nothing else, and no banking apps allowed, which would those be? And
WhatsApp, YouTube, maybe one media app or something.
okay. If a marketing buzzword, maybe I should rephrase it given our conversation, a digital marketing buzzword, which you think, must be completely done away with.
Attribution.
And finally, if not for consulting or banking, what would you be doing?
Maybe write.
And write what? What type of writing?
I don't know, maybe macro eco or something like that.
Okay, wow. But thank you. That's all we have. Thanks so much, Sameer, for actually coming and actually spending your time with us. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Thank you.